Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to our kitchen. I'm Josh, of course, and I'm here with my assistant slash daughter,
Presley.
That's right. And we're here today because we're going to make Boston brown bread. Now, this is an old-timey recipe. I didn't even know about it until I was going through my grandmother's cookbook, and I came across this. Boston brown bread is the first thing you come across when you flip through, and so that is why I chose that as the very first recipe that we're going to work on today. And so again, those of you guys who are just tuning in, me and Presley are going to go through, and every Monday we're going to cook a brand new recipe out of my grandmother's cookbook and make this thing come to life and just have fun sharing with you guys the old recipes from my grandmother. I remember her being in the kitchen. It was always awesome. It was always great food, and you never had to worry about going hungry. So I wanted to just try these things out and kind of relive that a little bit, because it's such a pleasant experience for me, and I know you guys are gonna have fun joining along with us and making these recipes. So, Boston brown bread, that's the very first thing we're gonna do. Now, we're gonna cut and we're gonna come back and I'm gonna show you all the ingredients you're gonna need and everything else you're gonna need to make this awesome bread, okay? We'll be right back. Okay guys, so to make Boston brown bread, you're gonna need some very simple ingredients, and it's very easy really to do. So, but first, before we get started, Presley, do you know what the difference is between a dry ingredient and a wet ingredient?
No.
You don't know the difference? Okay, so what if we have to use buttermilk? Is that a dry ingredient?
No.
What is it?
A wet.
A wet ingredient. And say if we have to use 1 cup of yellow cornmeal, is this a dry ingredient or a wet ingredient?
Dry.
Okay, so I think we have that figured out. We're good to go. So what you're going to need now to make the Boston brown bread, very simple. Your dry ingredients are going to be 1 cup yellow cornmeal, 1 cup all-purpose white flour, 1 cup whole wheat flour, a half a cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and 1.5 teaspoon salt. Now that's your dry ingredients, that's all you're gonna need. Now you could also add raisins, dates, nuts into this. I'm sticking with my grandma's recipe, so I'm not going to include those, but lots of people do. And if you do, I'll talk more about that a little bit later on when to add those ingredients. So now for your wet ingredients, you're gonna also need 1.5 cup buttermilk and 2/3 cup of molasses, okay? So that's all you're going to need as far as the ingredients go. Like I said, unless you wanted to use raisins, dates, or nuts. So what you're also going to need to use, though, is cans. Now, you could use a large can like this, and I may need to get into a closer view to show you this, but you're going to want to make sure, so you got your can here. Now this label is on the metal, so if you have any labels, like the paper labels, like on a Campbell's or a vegetable can, you're going to want to take all that stuff off, okay? And also, some cans are going to have this ridge. Now what I did is I took the can opener and I simply just went around and took that off. So it comes off very easily, okay? And don't throw this away, because I'll show you what you can use this for later on, okay? So keep that. You're going to want to butter the inside of the can. Okay, so we have our 1 cup of yellow cornmeal in the bowl. Now go ahead and add in the 1 cup of all-purpose white flour. And then our 1 cup of whole wheat flour. and our 1/2 cup of sugar, and our 1 teaspoon of baking soda, and the 1.5 teaspoon of salt. Now, I'll put the recipe in the description, guys, also, so you guys know exactly what to do. Okay, and we'll let Presley mix all those dry ingredients up really well. So mix that up really, really well. Okay, that's mixed up really well now. And so all of our dry ingredients are very mixed up. So now we'll go into our wet ingredients. Okay, so now we're going to add in our 1.5 cup buttermilk. Good job. And now we're gonna add in a 2/3 cup molasses. And this stuff is super sticky, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So let that pour out. Yep, let that pour out. And then what we're gonna do
Is that good enough?
is, this is where the spatula comes in. I'm just gonna help you out here, honey, and I'm just going to scoop out the rest of this, okay, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Just gonna get all that in there. It smells so good. Okay. All right, so we have the molasses in and the milk in. You want to mix that up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, go ahead and mix all that up really good. Okay, so we're stirring up that wet ingredients really well. The molasses and the buttermilk stirring up really good. That's good to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add in the wet ingredients into our dry ingredients. Now, Presley, while you do that, how about I mix it up here?
Can I?
Okay, let me get started here a little bit, okay?
Okay.
I'm gonna get this started here, guys, and I'm gonna mix all this up really well. Okay, now we got all that stuff mixed up really well, and that molasses is so sticky, guys, so just make sure it's mixed up really, really well. Presley's doing an amazing job there. So once that's all mixed up really good, now all we need to do now is add this into the can. Before we do, I want to say, if you wanted to add raisins or dates or nuts, this is where I would recommend you adding them into, okay? So after you've mixed up your wet ingredients and your dry ingredients, then you can go ahead now and add in your raisins, your dates, or your nuts, and just give that a good mix, okay? But we're not adding that for this recipe because I'm trying to stick in to as much detail as I can with my grandma's own recipe. So we're just going to use this as is and make our Boston bread this way. So now we're just going to add in this.
Can I do the spoon part?
Yeah, you grab the spoon, okay? Now just very easy, honey. Pour that into our can. Now again, you can use the smaller vegetable cans. They have different sizes, of course, of the vegetable cans, guys. So you can use any can that you want, okay? I just didn't have enough of the small cans to make this, so I just used our coffee can here, and it's the one pound can. And like I said, I just took that edge off, that ridge. I just took that off with the coffee or with the can opener. And then I gave it a good wash and just went over the edges really good so there's no metal anything like that hanging out. And then of course you butter up your can really, really good. Okay? So we have that going. Presley's doing a great job here.
Go.
Okay guys, so we have all of our mixture now into the can. And like I was telling you earlier, okay, this was on the can. And what I did is I took the can opener and I just went around and got that off. And it actually made nice smooth edges. I did go through and just give a rinse off and kind of just make sure it's all smoothed out and ready to go. Because you don't want this ridge on there, because if the ridge is kept on there, you're not going to be able to get the bread out. Okay guys, welcome back. So we're almost at the end of this whole process here. So where we're at now is you have the mixture in your can. Now again, I used the coffee can, that's all we had. we didn't have a bunch of the smaller vegetable cans, but that's fine too. So here, you can also use these smaller cans as well, but just make sure you have no ridges and that it's smooth outside as well. So just you can use this can or this can. It's really up to you. But you will want to leave a little space when you do fill this up. So leave about maybe 2/3 or so. Just leave a little space there. Other than that, once you have your mixture in your can, you're gonna want to put the foil on top. Okay. So we have some foil here, and you're just gonna place that right on top of the can. Like so. Now, Preston, I need your help here, okay? I'm gonna do one. And can you do one on the top?
Okay.
Put one on the top there.
Oh God. Yep.
Perfect. Okay. That just keeps your aluminum foil on the can there. And so now what you do is you're basically steaming the bread, okay? And that's what the pot is for. So now here is the ridge that I took off of the coffee can. Now I'm using this because I don't have anything else to use, because you don't want the coffee can to touch the bottom of the pot, okay? So you want to raise a little bit. You could use mason jar lids. You can use any kind of metal rack or anything that's going to raise it up a little bit. So I am going to try and to use this. I just simply am using the ridge from the coffee can, and I'm going to set it in there upside down and just place the can on top of that. Okay, so you're going to want to fill it with water about 2/3 of the way of the can. So about 2/3 up the can, you fill it with water. Okay, so I'm going to get that going, guys, and then we'll be right back. Okay. Okay, guys, so I'm not sure if you can see this very well, but there it is. So I have the can in the boiling water now, and I don't know if you can tell, but it's just kind of floating around in there. I don't know. I'm gonna let it be, and I guess I'm just gonna go with it. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this down, way down. And I'm just gonna let that simmer now for 2 hours. Okay. So I will come back in 2 hours and see how this all comes out. Wish me luck, guys. I wish you luck at home as well if you're trying this out with me. So good luck out there, and I'll be back in a couple hours, okay?
Action.
Hey guys, so it has been steaming for about 2 hours now, and we're gonna go ahead and take it off the stove, okay? Now I ran into a couple problems here. I'm not quite sure how this is gonna come out, but we're gonna take it out. We're gonna see how I did. Okay, guys. So we've taken the can out of the boiling water where it's been steaming for 2 hours. Okay. I can smell the molasses. It smells good. It smells like it would be a good bread. Oh. But take a look. Take a look. It actually doesn't look too bad. What do you think? Does it look kind of done there, babe? Mm-hmm. See that center right there? Do you think that's done?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh, you know how to tell.
Pick a toothpick.
Let's
in there?
grab a toothpick here.
Or even a knife.
Let's grab a knife here. Let's grab a good old butter knife. Okay. And we're just gonna try. You can bring her over here. Okay. Can you see inside there? Mm-hmm. Okay. It's still, I think, a bit moist, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I took it out too soon. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put this back on, and I'm gonna steam it for a little bit more. Okay. Maybe about a half hour. So I'll come back in about a half hour. Okay, guys. So I put it back in there to steam for about 30, 40 minutes. Okay. And I took the aluminum foil off, and so if you can come on in now. We did the knife test, and we just poke it in. It comes out nice. So this is done. Now, let's see if we can't get the bread out and see how this turned out. Okay, so there you have it. There is our loaf of Boston brown bread, okay? So now, let's cut into this, okay? So, it comes out nice. It really does, you guys. Look at that. So that is our loaf. Okay. So now that it is done, there are a few ways to serve this. I've heard that it's very popular served with baked beans. One thing that my grandmother did was she would serve it with cheese whiz spread on top and green olives. Now you can also put butter on there as well. Okay guys, so I've cut a slice for myself and I've given half to me and half to April, and we're going to go ahead and try this right now. So if you can kind of see this here, I have what I would imagine it would look like. I spread some cheese whiz on there. Now this cheese whiz is in the jar. Okay, so it's the just cheese whiz spreadable, and I cut up some green olives and I just spread them on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and give this a try now. It's actually really good. That molasses really comes through, and believe it or not, with the cheese whiz and olives on there, it's actually really good. It's got that whole savory, sweet and salty thing going on. Wow guys, it's actually really good. I didn't think it would turn out myself because I screwed up a couple times with the pan and steaming it, but it actually turned out really well. The bread is moist. It's a very thick, heavy, moist bread. And that molasses really comes through. Reminds me of like a molasses cookie kind of almost too. It's got that flavor in there. So it's actually really good. And like I said, you could spread butter on here, which would also be good. You could serve it with baked beans. And it's really fun and easy to do. Yeah, I definitely recommend it, guys. Give it a try. If you remember having Boston brown bread as a child or in your home and your mom or your grandmother cooking it, go ahead and leave a comment in the section there and give us a story or share a memory, or just simply type Boston brown bread. And I thank you guys for watching. I thank you guys for tuning in. Yeah, this was awesome. It was very fun. I'm not sure what we're going to do for next Monday, but stay tuned and I will let you know. Until then, guys, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.